This time on Rad Rat Video, we're talking about lots of would you rather questions. Let's do it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding and all kinds of things in the skateboarding world, including answering your questions about skateboarding. I've got quite a few of them today. Most of them are would you rather type questions, but the first two are not. This one is from Julian, who says, do tricks that have your feet touch the ground in any way, shape, or form from the beginning, middle, or end of the trick count? If they don't, then wouldn't bonuses and stuff not count as well? So there's no commissioner for skateboarding like there is for basketball. You know, like nobody makes the rules. I certainly don't. If you're asking me for permission to do a certain kind of trick, you got it. Go do anything you want to do. For me, a trick counts if you intended to do it. That doesn't mean it's a good trick. That doesn't mean it's a difficult trick. That doesn't mean it's an interesting trick. But if you wanted to like roll next to a puddle, push your board through it, skip alongside it, and then jump back on the board, and you intended to do it and you pulled it off, then you have landed a trick. It's not a trick I would necessarily care to watch, but you did it. Good job. You know, anything like that. If you want to do a foot plant, if you want to do a no comply or a boneless or anything along those lines, all that stuff is fair game. If you just kind of kick the board out and you run and you just kind of hope something happens, that's a little less cool. But if you have planned out a trick, you've done it, and you landed it, then it counts, in my opinion. All right. Next is talking about... I have accidentally erased the name. I'm going to see if I can find that. And if I do, I'm going to put it on the screen. He was talking about Trick of the Year. It says that Andy Anderson won the Rodney Mullen Award for doing a 50-50 front foot impossible down a handrail. I thought it was weird seeing this award go to this trick, since I've never seen Rodney do a front foot impossible. I even went and rewatched some of his old video parts to confirm I've never seen him do it. So I have 3 questions from this. First, has Rodney Mullen actually landed this trick before? Not on video that I've ever seen. I bet he could have done it. He's probably done it before, but I've never seen him film one. There's no record of him doing one as far as I'm aware. Second, don't you think it's weird seeing Andy win this one since it's not really a Rodney trick, or at least not a common one for him? Also, considering all those crazy Primo slides Johnny Geiger did this year, Johnny Geiger should definitely have won that, because he did Primo slides. Like Rodney Mullen, he didn't invent the Primo slide. Primo did. That's why it's named that. But he was the first to kickflip up onto a pad and slide into Primo. So like, yeah, I think Johnny Geiger should definitely have won that award if it's named based on what it actually is. You know, if it's just like weird tech, that seems to be what the actual category is, despite what they call it. If it was actually a Rodney Mullen trick award, then yeah, I think Johnny Geiger should definitely have one. He did Casper slides, he did Primo slides, did all that kind of stuff last year. But your third question is, who actually invented the front foot impossible? I really like the trick history series, and I think it would be really cool to see it make a comeback. There's not really a lot to talk about for this trick, then answering it on Ask Rad Rat would also be cool. There's not much for a trick history type of video because it's not much of a mystery. It was first done by Ray Simmons in 1988's Shackle Me Not. The story goes he was trying to learn how to do a laser flip, and his foot kept getting in the way, and he just somehow figured out the front foot impossible. So yeah, there's not much of a mystery to unravel for that trick to come up with a full video about it. But if you do want to watch an interesting one, the one for the Merlin twist is right there. That one is kind of interesting because people thought this was a brand new trick. It got named around like 2007 or something like that. But then you go back far enough and people were doing them a long time ago. And there's debate as to who exactly did it first. But in that video, I think I nailed down who the actual inventor of that trick is. So that might be an interesting one for you. Okay, now we are into the would you rather style questions. The first one is from James, who says, would you rather be able to kickflip 6 feet in the air and all of your other tricks are normal height, or be able to hold a switch manual infinitely, but not be able to do any other 2-wheeled balance trick? What a question. Okay, so let's think about this. I can kickflip 6 feet high. I couldn't do that. I couldn't go out and do that at a skate park or like film that, because if I did it at a skate park, people would think I'm like a monster or a robot or something like that. If I were to do it on video, people would think it was fake. So it's kind of useless except for exercise, right? If I could jump, it has to be a kickflip. I'm assuming the rules are pretty strict. I can't just stand on my feet on the ground and jump 6 feet in the air. I have to be doing a kickflip to get that height. I assume that's what the rule is. For that reason, I could do like 4 kickflips and just be like, and that's my workout for the day. That's a lot of squat power. That's a lot of cardio. I think that could be useful. But yeah, it wouldn't really be super useful for actually skating, like when am I ever going to do a 6-foot high kickflip? But a switch manual is basically worthless. Like when am I ever going to do that? Has to be a switch manual. So it's not like I could backside flip into a fakey nose manual, even though it's the same thing. I feel like a fakey nose manual would have to be different from a switch manual. Even so, I can do an infinitely long switch manual. Who cares? People can. I've seen like a 400-foot manual down a hill and stuff like that. That's not exciting to watch either. That seems less useful. So I'm going to pick the 6-foot high kickflip. I'll do 5 of them in my backyard for a workout, and that's it. Okay. Next question is from Summer, who says, "Hey, Rad Rat, you told that you are into weird questions, and here's one I like to ask people." It's spelled like that. "For no reason. If you'd have to choose, would you rather wear dripping wet socks at all times, you wouldn't be able to take them off all your life, or have feet twice the size as they usually are? Please consider the consequences for your daily life as well as for skating, obviously. Thanks and have a nice day." Okay. Soaking wet socks forever or double-sized feet. I don't think they make shoes for double my size. I'd have to get a size 22. Actually, no, because I don't think they scale like that. Like, I don't think a size 1 would scale up. So it would be like a size 40 or something like that. I'm sure I could get some custom made, but that would be ridiculous. Like people would stare at you with feet that enormous walking around. I think that would be really annoying. You'd go shopping and someone would run your foot over with the cart because, it seems like that would be really inconvenient. As far as skateboarding, I think it's impossible at that point. If your feet are that big, to do anything more than just carve, I don't think you could do it. So that's pretty bad, but feet soaking wet all the time. My first thought about this was health. If your feet are wet all the time, they're going to grow mold or something like that. Like it's going to be super unhealthy. Eventually, you're probably going to have your feet removed because they're wet all the time and they've grown some, some mildew or fungus or something like that. So for health reasons, I'd really lean toward double size feet, but I don't know. Like the thing about wet is like it's annoying, but you'd get used to it. You'd have to. After like a month of your feet being wet all the time, you wouldn't even think about it. And you could put them in normal shoes. Your shoes are dry. It just feels wet inside. So like when you're walking around and doing your thing, no one knows. They might hear you kind of squish a little bit, I guess, but you're not going to draw any attention to yourself that way. And you could skate about the same. It would feel gross, but again, you'd be used to that. So I guess it depends how serious it is. If my feet are wet forever, that means that they don't get cut off. I don't lose my feet at any point because they're wet forever, unless they're wet after being cut off. So that's the thing. I'd have to decide whether I would have to amputate my feet at any point or not. So that's a tough call. I would like to go with wet, but I'd really be afraid that I would lose my feet. Although if I did, I could get a prosthetic foot on both feet, and that would still be better than double size, I think. So yeah, I'm going to go with wet. Okay. Moin Rad Rat. I may be wrong here. Oh, that last question is from Summer. Yeah, this one is from Hannes or Johannes. He says, "Moin Rad Rat. I may be wrong here, but it seems like you liked that weird fingerboard challenge question, so here's another weird one. Would you exchange all your skateboarding abilities for 10 solid tricks of your choice? You could do them high speed almost every try, balance long, do tricks in huge ramps, etc. You can't choose combos. You would improve based on your new abilities. Absolutely, I would. I wouldn't even have to think about that too much. Because, like, for me, I can do a lot of tricks, but not a lot of them super well. Like, if I go to the skate park and I just want to cruise around and want to do a trick on the bank and come back, do a grind over here, like, there's only a handful of tricks I can do that well anyway. So if I could have 10 that I can do perfect, you said almost, like, do it almost every try. That kind of feels like cheating on your part. I don't like that part. But if I could do 10 tricks of my choice really consistently, high speed, in ramps, like that would be so much more fun. Like, if one of my tricks is a 360 flip, that gives me so much range. I could do it on flat, obviously. I could do it downstairs. I could do it on vert to fakie. I could do it from bank to bank on like a fun box, or, you know, anything. Full speed. That would feel amazing to be able to do 10 tricks perfectly every single time. And my skill would be built up based on that. So I would have that experience. I would have that confidence with the speed, confidence being able to do 20 or 10 tricks down this spot. Well, I should be able to develop more. I should be able to do a big spin flip if I can do 360 flips that well, you know? So let me figure out what my 10 tricks would be. Ollie, I think, is required. Kickflip, 360 flip, impossible. I like those a lot. Frontside flip, backside heel flip. I think backside heels are super cool. Crooked grind, backside crooked grind, I guess, if I have to pick one. I'm sure I do. Frontside blunt slides. I can't do those at all, so that would be awesome. Back tails. And maybe a front Smith. Those are my 10 tricks. I can do those full speed anywhere and any type of spot. I can drop in on a giant ramp somewhere, do a tray flip over the flat gap, and then a kick flip to fakie. Like, yeah, that would be awesome. I would definitely make that trade. Even if I lost all of my freestyle, if I lost all of my everything else, if I could do 10 tricks perfectly, I would 100% make that trade. So that's it for now. If you got more questions, go to radratvideo.com and submit them there. You can submit them through Patreon as well, where I will definitely answer you either directly or on video, depending on what the question is like. You can also support the channel by joining. If you hit the join button below, you'll get access to some cool perks that you can check out if you want to see those. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on my next video, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching.